Welcome to the amazing adventures of H.R. Wells on Earth 1. Here am I, the great hero, protecting the world from that terror that terrorizes timelines. Saboteur? No, I mean Barry Allen. This is the Flashpoint podcast.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, so it's me and Zach, and we're here to discuss season 3. Was it episode 12, Untouchable?
They should do that. It reminds me of like when Castle was on. They released real Nikki Heat books. They should release like web comics or something of. Oh, you know what'd be great? Audio dramas of the adventures of H.R. Wells. Like old style, kind of.
Yeah. And if he really is writing a book.
Yeah, I don't. You know what's funny? We keep saying, "Oh, it probably means this," and funny if it's like literally just, "Yep, no surprises." Although I did have a little thing I was thinking about when I was thinking about that episode. She never actually says like who. She says he's H.R. Wells, but she never says like, "Oh, the face of Star Labs." And the thing I was thinking is, if he was like rich and famous, couldn't he have like bribed officials? Oh, let me travel to blah blah blah.
I don't know, maybe. And was it last episode he was like recording something and he stopped when Cisco walked in? I was like, oh man, when someone who looks like Wells records something, it never ends well.
Well, we'll hopefully we'll see by the end of the season.
Well, let's get into this one, Untouchable.
With no Kevin Costner.
But
now this villain, is he from the? I wasn't, because they didn't really give him. They didn't name him.
Yeah, well, he really didn't have metahuman powers like that in the comics. Clive Yorkin was he like an escaped mental patient or something? He was around when Iris was killed in the comics, and at first Barry thought it was him who killed her, and then he later found out it was Reverse Flash. So I think they did that on purpose. They're like, oh, is Iris going to die early?
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I have no words for that. That's such a bad use of a character.
No. And didn't we have somebody who kind of... I'm trying to remember. Didn't we have someone who, like, made stuff decay at a touch or something?
Oh, God. I cannot remember.
Huh. It just seems familiar to me.
I could try and look really fast as we're talking and see what I can find.
Unless I'm thinking of Damien Dark from last season of Arrow.
I'm not sure, but so we have a little race between Wally and Barry, which Barry cheated.
Yeah. Trying to teach Wally to vibrate.
Yeah, good teacher.
Yeah, well, he even said he's not a good teacher.
I'll say he's not a good teacher.
So you think Wells paid off HR paid off all his bets?
Yeah, you know what's funny? Unless I'm wrong, if he doubled down with all three of them, doesn't it mean he owes them like that's $600 total?
Something. Yeah, I swear it was at least a couple $100. I'm like, does he even have Earth 1 money?
I was thinking that. No, but he does have his wallet on a chain. I'm like, he really is hipster Wells. I mean, he really is.
I was waiting for him to pull out like Earth 19 money, be like, here's
A Google.
And who did he say was on the 100? Abe Lincoln. He's like, yeah, I'll use like an Abe Lincoln or whatever it is on your.
So one thing we get this episode, we actually get to see Barry being a CSI. Woo, kind of.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad to see these scenes because like this, and what was it last week too? Because like for a while, it looks like he hadn't been going to work for a while.
Although, here's something I was thinking. Now, of course, everything I know about CSIs I know from TV. Mm-hmm. But would they really send two CSI? Because, obviously it's a comic book city, so it's made-up city. But Central City's somewhat major, I guess. Why would they send... I'm pretty sure their CSI should be too busy that they can't send two to the same location, you know?
Well, I guess the metahumans are the only ones murdering people in this city, so...
I know, right? That's probably...
I mean, if there's only one crime scene at that point, I can see it, but...
Well, it's something I always like. It's like, it's nice of the metahumans to only commit one crime at a time.
Yeah, I know. I think, I don't know if Singh just doesn't care. As long as the work gets done, it seems like Singh doesn't care how they do it.
Yeah, well, apparently CSI can just resign and then unresign.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so, the funny thing about Julian is, of course, he's almost acknowledging the fact that he's a jerk, which I kind of like.
He embraces it.
But the funny thing is, as much as he's the jerk, I find myself agreeing with him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he says, he doesn't say it like, but he's like, I want to say, yeah, he's like, Caitlin's like, what do you think you say? And I'm making excuses? I just want to go, well, you are.
No.
I mean, and then we get that scene later where it's taking over. I'm like, she's not Magenta. It's not a separate personality.
I'm trying to think this through. I think it's more like a chemical imbalance.
Yeah, I know, but I hate villain backgrounds, and this, it's such a weak thing. It's like she doesn't stop being Caitlin the second. I understand it's like, it kind of deadens her, fine, but I'm not against, like, before I was okay with her, like, because she's having a bad day. If you're having a bad day and you suddenly get superpowers, who knows what you might do. So I was buying that, but she's not going to just suddenly become Killer Frost. Killer Frost became Killer Frost for specific. That's the whole point of an alternate Earth. I'm not saying she has to still be Caitlin, but she's not going to just suddenly be, I'm evil now. Oh, well, I guess I got to be evil now.
I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's like a chemical imbalance, or maybe they should look into it. Maybe it would be interesting if they said, like, Caitlin wasn't, like, the most sane person to begin with.
Yeah,
she
right?
had issues in the past, yeah.
By the way, I love how there's absolutely no reason for them to use wood for Wally's phasing practice.
Maybe it was cheap.
It couldn't be cheap. I'm guessing the hardest, most dense wood in the world has got to be expensive.
Yeah, not cheap, but I'm saying maybe it was less expensive than, like, concrete or, like, whatever metal they would have used.
Why not just use a sheet? I mean, if for his first phasing, does it have to be planks of wood?
Well, I guess they wanted something resembling a wall.
I guess. Although, this is what I mean about Barry being a bad teacher. Although he kind of admits it later, which I kind of like. He's essentially telling Wally's like, how do I phase? He's like, you kind of go through stuff. It's like, you almost want to see Wally go, yeah, I get that. Actually, he does say, he's like, how?
Yeah. Yeah, Barry even acknowledges that later. But
I
yeah,
know,
it's just
like that.
It's just like, how do I ride a bike? Well, you just do.
Okay, and now this is kind of a slight nitpick, but again, it's a suspension of disbelief nitpick. I just find it because they find out that the corpses degrade really fast, so Barry has to run the second body over to the lab. We've seen people catch on fire for having to run with Barry. I'm supposed to believe the vibrations don't just make the corpse just deteriorate. It's just suspension. It's not like a major plot. I understand it's a plot device. That's why I just felt like I just like saying it. I will say this though. This is I can't think of a villain motivation in this show or really anything that is dumber than this guy.
The whole Flashpoint thing.
He is now. I'm fine with people kind of like the rival wasn't too bad because he remembered what he was like in the other universe. He's like, oh, I like being this guy. I'm going to beat the Flash because I want to be the best. That's different. This guy was, because he was still the rival. You know what I mean? In the new, when he was changed back in the revival, he still wanted to challenge the Flash. It wasn't a personal vendetta. This guy was going after people who essentially didn't exist for stuff they had never done.
Yeah, but didn't they say that he was one of those guys from Alchemy's Cocoon? So I don't know if maybe Alchemy gave him a list of names. Although
he had the memories, but I'm saying he's going after for stuff that didn't happen. Not really. I guess to him such a weak motivation. I know, but it's you gotta love it. Again, it just reminds me of the villains that there are some great villains out there, but if you go to their original inceptions, they had horrible origins.
Yeah, I just have more of a problem with how they vibed Flashpoint. It's like, well, Flashpoint doesn't exist anymore. Well, kind of technically it does, because every choice creates an alternate reality, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that kind of thing, when you do alternate realities, always kind of hurts my head.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like in that, it was a good movie. They did Crisis on Two Earths, when they meet the syndicate. I'm just thinking, well, if there's only one Earth Prime, wouldn't that mean there's an alternate reality where Batman doesn't defeat Owlman, the Earth does blow? It's like alternate reality. Like my head's like ah.
I know, it's just like, so what you're saying is there's a version of Flashpoint that exists out there and it will continue to exist, and it's just like, so events are going to happen.
So there's a version of Flashpoint which he didn't release Eobard.
I know, yeah, and it's just like, so you're telling me that version of Flashpoint everything is gonna happen exactly like this Flashpoint? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a big one. And and if the whole quantum mechanics thing, shouldn't there be more than one universe where Flashpoint stayed? How did he again? I always and some shows have done this, alternate realities where stuff is like, oh yeah, what's different about this reality? Oh, you have blonde hair in this one. But kind of did that.
Yeah, I just think it would have been more believable if Barry had just remembered them bringing in Clive Yorkin and who the cops were.
Or something.
I guess.
Yeah.
This way, Cisco got to see Flashpoint, and he's like, "Boy, I thought it looked different."
Yeah. And I'm surprised they didn't have any mention of. I mean, he vibed a universe where his brother is still alive.
Oh yeah.
I did like the scene where I'm forgetting his new girlfriend's name, but when he meets her daughter and she's like all fangirling Kid Flash.
Oh no, yeah, I was so proud of Barry and Wally. I was like, oh god, are they going to unmask again?
But I liked how they're like, well, who do you like better, Joe? And Barry and Wally are just like, yeah, Joe, who do you like better? Because he's literally being asked to choose between his sons. One thing I gotta have a problem with. Okay, Wally defeats him, and I like that. It was a good scene. But he's like, he got away, and I'm just going, how?
No.
There's absolutely. I mean, I understand they can't grab him, but it's like he just knocked him into the next room, and apparently the guy disappeared.
Well, I guess he ran away, but I was like, okay, you have at least one person there, who's showing that they have super speed. He couldn't run out and search like a block or two for him because he'd be running way faster than him.
Yeah. By the way, whenever a villain has powers like this of like decay or whatever, it's like, okay, then how does his clothes stay on, and how come he just melt through the floor?
I know.
But it's the same argument. It's the same argument as like why ghosts can walk, that kind of thing. We should probably talk about Joe finding out about the future.
Oh yes. He found out Iris is gonna die. Yeah, because Iris.
I think he played this. I mean, this really showed how good of an actor he is. He played this so good. You really believed he was a father worrying about his kid's life.
Oh yeah, and it's just it's like he wants to help save her, and even if he can, it's like well, maybe I would like if these last couple months to do stuff with her before she's gone.
I did like how they addressed also with Julian, like his guilt, like he's got to live with his guilt over that he created villains.
Oh yeah, but it's like, was he being controlled? I mean, you can still blame yourself.
Well, they established that there wasn't even. Well, Barry said, and it seemed to make sense, that there's not even an alchemy. It was just Savitar just working through him.
But I don't know. I'm just like, is Julian still secretly evil because Caitlin went for drinks with him at the end? I was just like, she doesn't have the best track record with men, especially from last season.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of out of left field putting them together.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, okay. The new guy shows up. Caitlin is on top of him. Last season it was who she thought was Jay, and now this season it's Julian. Right.
Oh, and I gotta say one thing I thought was like Joe warning the PI. And I understand it's like a tough thing, but it's like I don't care who you are. If someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, a metahuman that can decay things with the slightest touch is coming after you," I'm at least gonna go, "Oh, no one said ever to that." Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It almost seemed to me like maybe I don't know why, but it almost seemed like she didn't believe him fully. I was like, oh yeah. Look at the world you live in. It's possible.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole phasing the whole train thing, even though it's a comic book show, should we call bull on this?
What, that Wally learned it so quickly?
No, not phasing the blood, phasing the train.
Oh, I know. I'm trying to remember if he ever phased anything that big in the comics, but yeah, that was kind of unbelievable. I mean, he did the whole train and the people, and everything came out okay. It's just like
there's so many reasons why that doesn't make sense. I know it's a comic book show, but there's okay, he can phase it he can phase a train, but what if so the phasing goes through all the stuff, every person, every whatever, and just
nobody got stuck in a seat or anything.
Right, I know. And wait a minute, if the train is phasing, shouldn't it have just gone through the ground?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It seems. I just don't think he's strong enough. It just doesn't make sense, in my opinion. I mean, I really don't want to nitpick about it, but
And that train wasn't that big. I was like, between the two of them, they didn't have enough time to super speed everyone off the train.
You know what I kept thinking of when he said that?
Huh.
Season 1, I believe it was, when he took, when I think, yeah, it was when we the first Captain Cold, and the train went off the rails and spun, and he was able to get everyone off.
By himself. He'd even have Wally at that point, yeah.
Okay, now the phasing of the blood thing. I don't have a problem with Wally just because, that's it's a superhero trope, the whole episode, I can't do it, last scene, I can do it. So I don't have a huge problem with that, but it's just, again, I'm trying to figure out the science of a comic book show. It's just, he phases his blood, and he just cuts his hand and runs through some, I don't know, Captain Decay, whatever the frick we're going to call him, and that's it. His powers are negated. It's like, okay, sure. And here's the thing. If his powers ever come back, isn't it true that no jail could hold him?
Oh, yeah. I can just decay the wall or something, yeah.
I get, although that's one of those things that can be explained away with one line of dialogue. Like, we put this on the bars, blah, 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 blah.
No! I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he's he's probably a one-and-done villain.
Oh, my God, I hope so.
Then Wally blaming himself for not saving Iris.
Oh, jeez. Although while I understand them sending Wally first because he was closer, there really was no reason not to tell Barry.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah. Well, Wally told Cisco I can handle it, but I mean, yeah, Cisco should have. I mean, Barry would have wanted Cisco to call him and say, "Hey, Wally's on his way to Iris's. Dorkin's there."
That's what I'm saying. I didn't think he addressed when Iris and Barry talk about Iris being in danger. It's because that's been addressed many times. Heroes breaking up with the girls sometimes because they know, sometimes because they don't, because they don't want them hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, there's no guarantee it will just suddenly stop, and you're more likely to get saved if your boyfriend's a superhero.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that little thing. No, but luckily they'll be able. I did like the shot against the Star Labs security, though.
Oh, yeah, because of the deadbolts. He's like, yeah, Cisco wants to make us a security system, but we've seen Star Labs.
Although, an extra deadbolt, that'll keep out the menace.
Yeah, I know. Especially Savitar.
Oh, God. If he even exists.
Oh, man.
And then, of course, the ending. As my notes, I just put at the end of my notes, Grodd.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't wait to see although, it's we called this one the episode, wow, sending Grodd to a city of super intelligent gorillas. What could go wrong?
Exactly.
I wonder if we're going to get Solivar.
Maybe. But yeah, I don't think HR goes with them because, he has to play Earth 2 Wells this episode.
God, are we even gonna? I wonder if how much we'll even see Earth 2 Wells.
I don't know. I mean, we might see him.
He might be, he's captured, so who knows what they'll do.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, I think it's a 2-part episode, but yeah, because I think it's Barry, Caitlin, Cisco, and Julian go to Earth too.
Oh my God, are we gonna meet Earth 2 Julian?
I don't know.
But I don't think we met Earth 2 Wally, did we? I don't think we did. Did we?
No.
No.
If he even exists, because I mean, maybe, unless Joe's life worked out a little different, where he only had one kid or something.
Huh. Well, I don't think they addressed that. But Caitlin is Killer Frost on Earth 2. I wonder if they're gonna go anywhere with that.
Yeah, but Earth 2's dead. Earth 2 Caitlin's dead, isn't she?
Yeah, but I don't know how public knowledge, like that is. See her and go, kill her.
But yeah, we have to wait 2 weeks. It's not on this week coming up.
No.
That's
I know.
the thing
I'm actually looking forward to.
Yeah, your Tuesday shows aren't on this week. Yeah, because Flash isn't on and Legends isn't on this week.
I mean, that's such a weird choice to move it. But anyways, yeah. So I think that sums up everything about the episode. I mean, I get worst villain ever, but I didn't really have a problem with this episode, I would say, other than that.
Well, like I said, I think they wanted to use the Clive Yorkin name, and they just decided, what power resembles death? Okay, the K power.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna give it a bad rating, but it felt very filler-like, I did, of course, there were scenes I liked, but as an episode, I felt it kind of forgettable.
Yeah, it's just, I think you have some of these filler episodes, we're killing time until, the Grodd storyline, and...
can't wait.
And I don't know, does the Savitar seem like a big threat? I'm like, when's he gonna pop up? Like, not until that last episode, or...
I know, right? I guess we'll see.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think that's it.
Yeah. But so I guess we can do social media. So if you want to talk anything Flash, let us know. Email us flasharrowpodcast@gmail.com. On Facebook, we're the Flashpoint Podcast and Legends of DC Pod. Twitter @Flashpoint_SMG and @Legends of DC Pod. And Zach, where can the public find you?
You can always find me on Facebook, but Twitter's always good too. Inch from Insanity, and in any of the podcasts I do on Southgate Media, and keep your eye out for my web series. Inch from Insanity is on it's in its planning stages, so keep it. Let's see.
And as for me, you can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am @nightwingpdp. Just check out all the other great shows on the Legends of DC podcast here. Check out Before the Bat, Enough Said podcast, Channel 52, an upcoming project. Keep your eyes open for that. Yeah, Zach.
Well, maybe we'll make it so.
Yeah, you pick your episodes. All right.
So this concludes another exciting adventure of H.R. Wells on Earth 1. Tune in next time, where we'll be back in a flash.